Hello everyone, today I want to share with you my trip to New York. So most of the trip we spent in upstate New York near a city called Binghamton. This is where my grandparents live, so most of my trip I just spent out hanging around that area and seeing them again for the first time in 6 years. Look at the snow. I mean, I thought leaving Finland I would have more of a spring vibe over here, but no. It's just winter vibes over here. And yeah, so I think it's about almost 5 p.m. now, and the power's still out. I'm just really hoping it'll be back on by this evening, or it'll be a very dark night. Yeah, I've never experienced this kind of power outage before. I don't know how common it is, but yeah, this is a first for me. Right at the end of our trip, we decided to take a Greyhound bus from Binghamton bus station up to New York City. So we wanted to spend one night in New York City before flying out from JFK back to Finland. The bus ride was quite nice. The roads were quite bumpy on some sections of it. As you can see in the video material, it's a little bit bumpy. But the bus trip was very smooth, very easy and convenient, and it takes you right to Port Authority bus station, which is right at the heart of New York City. We also booked a hotel, which was called the Pod Hotel Times Square, which was right a few blocks from Port Authority, so it was very easy to get to, and we didn't have to drag our luggage very far. So after checking in and dropping our bags off, our first stop was the High Line, since actually I've never been there before. So the High Line is a bit over 2 kilometer long raised park, which was created on a former New York Central Railroad section. It's located on the west side of Manhattan, and it was pretty cool because it's kind of like a raised urban garden. So we were mostly walking around the Chelsea bit and the surrounding areas, and I felt super American carrying my takeaway coffee in my hand, as so many other people seem to be doing. And it was nice to see an elevated view of New York, which wasn't too high, so you don't have to be scared. And there were flowers that were just starting to bloom, and it had a bit of a spring atmosphere, although I must say it was very, very, very windy on that day. It was cool to see that this idea of redeveloping an obsolete infrastructure as a public space has become quite popular, as the High Line was opened in 2009, but I didn't really start hearing about it until more recently. So it was definitely a cool place to check out. Then after a quick pizza dinner, we headed over to Times Square to see all the commercial lights in the evening darkness. They had a street performance, and all in all, it was a very lively atmosphere. It's very different from downtown Helsinki, obviously. It was nice to be somewhere that felt so alive and vibrant and bustling with activity. So yeah, the evening was just spent wandering around Times Square and the theater district area. The next morning, we got up real early. Actually, I got up at 6:30 a.m. because I was ready to go out and explore. So after quickly getting ready back at the hotel, which by the way had an amazing view since we were on the 13th floor. So we decided to take a quick walk outside before we had to check out of the hotel. So our first stop was Rockefeller Center via Times Square. So we just wanted to quickly walk through Times Square again since, well, we were nearby and we wanted to see it in the daylight. And we made our way to Rockefeller Center, which is a very, very tall building again. And there's actually an observation deck at the top of it called Top of the Rock. So I've actually been on top of there before, quite some years ago. So we didn't go up there this time, but we just wanted to kind of wander around that area. So the core area of Rockefeller Center was completed in 1939, and you might be familiar with it because right in front of this building is where they put the famous New York City Christmas tree during Christmas time, and they also have the ice skating rink during the winter, which now it wasn't winter, so they didn't have the ice skating rink there despite the big snowstorm just a week before. But it seemed that there may have been like a roller skating rink that was perhaps opening later in the day. We were there quite early, so it wasn't open quite yet. Right nearby, there was a nice little Easter garden, which was on our way to St. Patrick's Cathedral, which is a Catholic cathedral in Midtown Manhattan. Actually, there was a bagpipe player outside the church, which was great news to someone like me who loves the sound of bagpipes. After St. Patrick's Cathedral, we speedily walked in the cold wind to Central Park. We made it to the Delacorte Clock exactly at 10 a.m. when the bell rings and the animals play a short song. So the clock rings on every hour and half hour during the daytime, and I remember this clock featured in both Madagascar the movie and also a movie I recently watched called A Rainy Day in New York, which has Timothée Chalamet and Selena Gomez. We then made our way to Cherry Hill, which was stunningly beautiful as the cherry blossoms were in full bloom. We admired all the pink in the sunshine before we had to speed walk back to the hotel to check out. Cherry Hill was seriously gorgeous. It was so nice to walk around Central Park. Actually, the Cherry Hill area was a little less windy than the more southern bits of the park, but it was really nice to wander around. There was a lot of flowers out. A lot of flowers in the trees had blossomed, not just the cherry blossoms, but other types of flower trees were out. It was sunny. Yes, the wind did make it a little bit cold, but it was just really nice to kind of get some fresh air before our flight later that evening. So then finally we had lunch at a Greek tavern restaurant, which was near our hotel, and did a mini final walk to the water where the Circle Line cruises leave from, just to see a bit of water before heading over to JFK Airport. So that was our 24 hours in New York City, actually 25 hours to be specific, 25 hours in New York City. And thank you for watching this video. Let me know what your favorite things to do in New York City are, and if you've never been, what you would be most interested in seeing. And I guess that just about concludes this video. Till next time.